Memphis, 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 Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said I don't have that fire in my eyes no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
Yo, what up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Grizz 901. I'm completely screwing everything up. I do apologize for that, but we are back coming off of a loss. Unfortunately, that was a loss, and so we're going to go ahead and break down a little bit of the game. It was much better than the first game, so I'll give it that. But the Grizz lose 108-104 to the Denver Nuggets. They now have another game tomorrow against the Washington Wizards out in Washington, or actually, is it in Washington? Anyway, and so we're going to go ahead and get into tonight's show. So thank you for joining us. If you are not a subscriber to the YouTube channel, that's on you. It's on you. If you're watching this on Twitter, thank you. But come over and join us at YouTube. Hit us up with your comments. We're going to answer a lot of questions. We're going to hit on a lot of stuff that we saw tonight. I have a lot of positives, so I'm just going to be honest. I'm just going to put it out there on the plate in the very beginning. I'm positive about the performance tonight. I think it has a lot to do with you don't have I guess you're coming to a knife fight with a spoon. I think that was one of Greg Popovich's dealio back in the day. But it was a fun game. It was entertaining, and honestly, dude, the grindhouse was rocking. And so I'm excited. I'm pumped for what the future could be. This team is still coming together. They're still trying to gel, trying to figure things out. But I'm excited for what could be. Without further ado, let's get the show started.
New music threw me for a loop. I was like,
new music, who did? Sorry. Unfortunately, the old music is gone. You'll never hear of it again.
Thanks, copyright.
At least that's what I was told, is to remove the old music for good. But no,
right.
Nate, off the top rope, man, give it to me. First thoughts on the game.
Very encouraged. Glad Jitty's back. That was a Jitty of 2 years ago where all the fans were like, "Oh yeah, we like John Conchar." So we got a good John Conchar game. So that was fun. Man, honestly, as the first two games go with the state of the Grizzlies lineup and what they're working with, I think all Grizz fans should be pretty encouraged, especially after tonight. I mean, if Desmond Bane has anything other than a terrible performance, I mean, that game could be a lot different, right? And you're going to need both Bane and Jaren to be awesome to beat the best teams in the league as long as Ja's out and if you don't get any reinforcements from the bigs. But yeah, man, it's a fun game. I think it went a little bit the way we all thought it would go, where it's going to be more competitive, more Grizzlies-esque, but it's always going to be a tall task to come in and beat these Nuggets. So I'm encouraged as a Grizz fan.
I am encouraged. Can I say something that will sound really bad as a Grizzlies fan? I
mean, you can.
I don't think Jokic. I don't think Jokic tried tonight. I'm just being honest. It looked like he was just going through the motions. And honestly, listen, if that's kind of what it was, and it was due to the Grizzlies' effort and energy, then so be it. I'm down with that. It just looked like he was just hey, I feel like we have this game. I'm just going to kind of go through the motions. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It just looked like he wasn't giving everything. He wasn't turned up to 10, in my opinion. But in the end, the Grizzlies looked like they had the more effort the entire night. And that's all I asked for. As a fan, that's all I asked for. If you want to be diving on the ground like Xavier Tillman was a lot, stupid things will happen. But I will say that as a fan, all I want is energy and effort. And they gave it tonight. Completely night and day from game one.
Well, and let's be honest about the state of the Grizzlies, man. You are minus Ja Morant, Steven Adams, Brandon Clark, Santi Aldama, Luke Kennard. None of these guys are playing for you right now. And if that's the case, then you're going to have to give more effort pretty much every night to beat whoever you're playing. I mean, it really doesn't matter if it's the Wizards tomorrow night, who are not a good team. Let's just be really clear about that. You're going to have to put in a lot of effort to win. And so that's all you can ask. And you want to see them compete while putting forth that effort.
Yep.
As long as they're doing that, then they're going to have a chance to compete, survive until Ja gets back. And hopefully the cavalry comes in the bigs department.
Speaking of that, one thing, if you want to share a comment to my question as well, if you want to answer what I'm about to ask Nate, I'm curious if you were putting the starting five together tonight against the five that are actually on injured reserve, whatever, they are not playing tonight. Those five are starting five. Which team would you pick to win?
I honestly think I'd pick the injured team. It'd be a decent matchup.
Ja and Steve-O.
Yeah, it's sort of you got Ja, Steve-O, and then Luke and Santi, and then Brandon. Sorry,
exactly.
Yeah, I think I might have to take it. It's yeah. Anyways,
so in context,
I was thinking about it a lot.
I want people to understand, like, just thinking about it that way. Ryan says,
what Ryan said, the one with Ja.
I just want people to understand, like, if you think about it in that kind of context, you have a better team actually injured and not playing than the team you actually have playing. It's just the truth. And so, but, listen, the positives that we saw tonight, we'll get into those throughout the entire night completely. But if you are watching us, thank you again. One thing I do want to say is we're going to go and look through the comments. If you weren't part of, I guess, the last show, if you missed it somehow on our, our Twitter account that we put out this morning, the Grizz teller thing. So what this is a play off of the fortune teller, right? So this is, listen, my wife came up with the name. I thought it was actually kind of tongue in cheek a little bit. So Grizz teller, we're doing a Grizz teller giveaway. Do you remember what Sane predicted as the final score?
Yep. Grizzlies win. Did you say 108, 104?
108, 104.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I'm laughing.
That's crazy.
Like, I'm seeing this, and I'm just like, oh, my God. If this ends 108, 104, and he picked the Grizzlies. Like, honestly, the Grizzlies somehow won in the flip-flops, and he hits that first perfect prediction the first night.
We're done for the year.
That would have been
it. Grizz teller's gone.
We have to stop. Yeah, he owns it now. So we will give away. We're going to look through here, and at some point tonight, either during the show or afterwards, we will go ahead and send out a DM or just kind of let the person know to get with us, and we'll get you a link and to getting a free membership just for being the closest person and predicting our Grizz teller. So every time we do have a guest on, if anybody hasn't heard or isn't aware, anytime we have a guest on, we will make sure that we give away something. So for whatever reason, whether announced or unannounced, if we have a guest, we will give away at least a month-long subscription to our Bluff City Media Insider. But if for some reason our guest predicts the score within 10 points of the total, but also predicts the team that wins, we're going to give out $100 to the merch store, but also a year-long subscription to be a Bluff City Media Insider.
I've got our guy Dak Daniels in the chat. I feel bad for the guy because the final total was 212, and Dak had 212 on the money.
No way,
Grizz.
Oh,
we only had one guy that picked the Nuggets, so he sort of going to win by default. So I guess by being honest with yourself, there is some kind of small victory there. But I know who the winner is. We'll send out a DM.
What's the name? Do we know?
John McLaughlin. 116, 105 Nuggies. I think he did have the second closest total. Nah, Mr. Glover had the second closest total after Dak. But Dak, great effort. But just like the Grizz, great effort doesn't quite get you there. We're going to have to give it to Mr. McLaughlin.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go a little bit through here. As Volcano, we're not going to say the rest because we're upset. The team's going to be just fine. Listen, I agree. And I'm going to keep rolling through these. Dak Daniels, good energy tonight. Roddy sucked. Roddy did suck. Listen, I think that he has lost a little bit of his confidence. He doesn't look, and honestly, some of these guys are going to take longer, especially early in their career. Zaire was unplayable last year. Okay. Let's just go back to that. I'm okay if he loses a little confidence as long as he gets it back. But then who else? And this, I think, Chris. He doesn't care we lost. It was refreshing and promising. Listen, hey, it's okay to be hyped. Chris is our guy. He doesn't know anything about the new day. He doesn't know anything about the new day. So if anybody knows about the new day, please send Chris. It is Crib_man on Twitter. Please send him all the GIFs of the new day. A lot of the big meaty men slapping meat. And so just kind of giving him that. We were kind of hitting throughout the game. I was sending some kind of stupid New Day wrestling reference, and he had no idea. So it was funny. What does Ryan say? You see, look, Roddy have Jake after Jake threw it off of him when he wasn't looking. Dude was pissed. Yeah, he was pissed, but also he should have his head turned. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, it was a rough Roddy night. Yeah. Like, as self-proclaimed president of the David Roddy fan club, there's better days ahead. That's the best. That's a diplomatic way to say that. But listen, there's all kinds of reasons for optimism. Back on what Chris was saying. X has looked really good. Jitty played well. Jake actually, as much as I'm like, I don't want to see Jake LaRavia minutes, if I'm being honest, he's not, I don't notice him, which is honestly the best I can kind of hope for at this point, right? Like, I don't notice him. He's not giving you anything, but he's not actively just killing you either, right? I mean, it's good. And then actually, shout out to our guy Funaki. He's going to still be with us all through the season, at least in spirit, with Steven Adams not playing. But he tweeted out, the Grizzlies are 22 for 75 from deep so far this season for a wonderful 29.3%. Imagine if you just shot like a decent 32% or something like that, right? Both these games could flip. They're going to be good. I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. I'm hoping that they come out with the requisite energy of a team that's 0-2, ready to pop the Wizards in the mouth. Sorry, Tyus. We still love you.
Were they off tonight, Wizards?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were.
God, dog. So they were off. Denver was off for 2 days with travel. They come to Memphis. Now we're going to Washington or wherever they are, and they have 2 days off with no travel. Really, really kind on the scheduling. Real quick, looking through these. Let's talk about Xavier Tillman, because I think he does need a little bit of his flowers because he was very good tonight. He was definitely in the running for player of the game for us. We're going to give our player of the game after we kind of talk about these couple of guys. But what's your thoughts on Xavier Tillman? I think he played very well. I think he always, for his contract, he's playing amazing. He's making a little over $1 million. But Xavier Tillman played very well, played within himself. He had some stupid turnovers, but that's going to happen when the ball's going through you more than usual. So thoughts on Xavier?
He's awesome, man. He's always awesome. Like, he always delivers for you. So he's never going to be just a stud, right? But he is solid against everybody. He played Jokic as well as he could play him tonight, you know? So I think you got to be happy with X, be really happy with the way he performed. You're always going to be happy with the way he performed. So, I mean, he's just solid. You just got to be super grateful as a Grizzlies fan.
Yeah, Xavier Tillman played very well tonight. Looking at his stats in general.
I still don't want him shooting threes. To be clear, we didn't talk about this on the last show, but me and Daniel had an entire little mini discussion of our own about how pissed I was he kept shooting threes. And listen, he made as many as Desmond Bane tonight, so I guess I might need to shut up. But yeah, I would prefer him to not shoot too many threes.
We cashed again. Shout out to Ryan. We cashed again on Xavier Tillman. 1 + 3 + 230. There it is, Ryan. Plus 230. Listen, he texted me earlier. He's like, we might not see another plus 200 again for Xavier to take a three. But listen, we're going to keep cashing, especially tomorrow if he has to go against Daniel Gafford and whatever they are, the Wizards, the magical Wizards. Ryan, real quick. Ryan with Free Basketball. He is obviously a friend of mine, but also has another podcast within Bluff City Media. Ryan, the last mascot standing, I believe it was the Grizzlies versus the Wizards. Last mascot standing on their show. Let me know if that was correct. I do believe that was right. But a little bit on Xavier Tillman. He had 13 points. Obviously nice. He didn't get the double-double. He had 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 5 turnovers. That was the issue. That's the only thing I didn't love is the turnovers. But besides that, it was great. let's go ahead to one other guy, Jitty. What's your thoughts on Jitty?
It was, like I said, that was like 2 years ago, Jitty. He shows up and he just does all the little stuff that you need to get done. And tonight, I mean, he was getting the Grizzlies possessions on both ends, offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, great defense, deflections. He's just always solid doing that stuff. And then part of what I like about Jitty too, if you saw towards the end, he had an open three, which this team takes a lot of open threes. So maybe he should have pulled that. But, you know, one of the big things about great role players is knowing their role. And Jitty passed up on that three to try and pass it back to Smart, to try and then go and find a better shot from Jaren, from Dez, from Smart, from somebody, right? And a guy who knows his role, I think, is really invaluable, and it's not something that necessarily happens all the time. So I was excited to see him back. I'm glad that he's okay. Like, I kind of was starting to get a little bit worried when he wasn't getting minutes. But, yeah, it's good to see him back. Really good activity and made a bunch of winning plays. I mean, we were talking about possibly making him the player of the game tonight, right? if they had pulled that out because of some big plays he made in the fourth. So good stuff from Jitty.
He looked good. First game back, 30 minutes, 1 of 2 just overall. He did miss a three-pointer. I'm looking at 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, 2 blocks, no turnovers, which is big.
Turning back into the magic conch.
Listen, role players and no turnovers is the key for me, because what that means is you're staying within yourself. You're not trying to overextend yourself and overdo it. And so I like that. You know, listen, I am a big fan of Jitty, and a lot of people know that. I just think he plays the game the right way. Most of last year, he did not. He did not look like himself for whatever reason. But he did look like himself tonight. He kind of looked like he was doing the little things that go unnoticed, and that's okay. And that's what you want out of a role player, somebody that can kind of be kind of go hide in the corner, kind of do the dirty work that maybe your stars don't have to do. Your 30 million guys, if they're not having to dive on the floor, then that's a good night from you. We're going to hit on D-Rose, but before we get on D-Rose, let's go ahead and give out our player of the game. Drum roll. We need some other stuff. Marcus Smart, player of the game, 20 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 steals. I think this was consensus. I even asked Ryan as well through text who he thought, and his first one was Smart as well. So Nate and Ryan both were leading with him. I was kind of up in the air. And so I think there was a lot of guys who played very well tonight, did some very good things. But Marcus Smart, obviously, our Grizz 901 player of the game, 20 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 steals. Nate, what's your thoughts on him?
I mean, that's why you brought him in. I was super impressed with how he navigated the offense tonight. Like, I thought not last night, but last game, he played well, but he's a little sloppy with the ball. Everything felt like it was kind of non-cohesive the other night. Whereas tonight, when Marcus Smart was running the offense, you saw him getting Jaren on a trailer. You saw him just navigating through, getting his own shot, making plays for other guys, and creating for the offense, which is really encouraging to see, because you're going to need that while Ja's out, right? Because between him and D-Rose, one of those guys has got to step up every night and navigate that offense well, where you can create for others, and it can run itself until Ja Morant gets back. And so seeing him do that tonight was awesome. And then just the activity, man, from him, and honestly from D-Rose too. Shout out to both those guys as vets, just finding ways to create and to make winning plays all night to push this thing forward. I mean, awesome stuff from both of them.
Yeah, Marcus Smart played very well. If you look at, just all around, just stuff in the stat sheet. That's the biggest thing, is somebody that can stuff the stat sheet is somebody that I want on my team. And I think Chris Ingram, who actually was talking through this on Twitter, he was talking about he doesn't care. He doesn't want to hear again about just the size of Marcus Smart. Doesn't want to hear about that anymore. The dude is just a baller. The dude plays well. So shout out to Marcus Smart for real. All right, let's get into
interject. I'm watching this Knicks-Hawks game right now, and trust me, we're going to be happier than both these fans no matter who wins. It is just like a contest of who wants to lose this game the most. So
I got a question real quick. This got me thinking about it. What number does Dylan Brooks wear?
9.
Damn. How do you know that? All right. Thoughts on Derrick Rose from LOL? Nope. Jones.
No.
Listen,
Dude,
I
I think like I
quick.
just.
If you have a great YouTube name, or whatever, please put it on here. I want
we have a lot of fun. It's probably the most fun we have on the show, honestly, is reading the names. It's why we're so mad at you, Volcano. Yeah. Change it back and we'll pull you back up.
Are we going to just we're
not
gonna freeze him
Volcano
out?
Hostage. Let's be honest.
We're gonna freeze him out.
No. Yeah, I think I just said it, man. He made winning plays all night too, right? I mean, made a couple of big shots, made some winning plays. I think he has some stuff that's sort of indicative of where this team's at right now, which is forcing things a little too often. But, you know, the team looks like they haven't played together. And guess what? They haven't. Even in the preseason, they had like 4 guys that are currently out with injury, right? So it's not going to look quite right. And so I think as everybody settles in, we're going to just get happier and happier with Derrick Rose. But even now, he made some really good defensive plays as well. He had a big steal to get the Grizzlies some momentum, but it's some big shots, man. I mean, that was it was set up, honestly, to be like the D Rose Memphis moment if they had pulled that game out, because he was the catalyst in that fourth quarter to get them the momentum, to get the forum rocking. If they'd have won that, it would have been sort of a D Rose moment. And so, yeah, I think along with the rest of the team, besides David Roddy, who we still have faith, better days are ahead. You got to be encouraged. You got to be encouraged with the team.
Isn't there a song, You Gotta Have Faith? I don't know who sings that.
There is. You should sing it. You should sing it right now.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I don't want to get copyright. You know, that's the only reason.
Yeah. Legal stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Going back to Dak,
didn't keep you from saying you give away shares the last game of the company.
Yeah, listen, probably gave half the company away. Talking about going back to talk about D Rose real quick. D Rose looked like he was getting up in the air less on passes, which helped him. I'm not looking exactly at his turnovers. I'm going to look at it, but I think he played a little bit more within himself, and that's going to happen, especially the biggest thing with passing, especially a point guard, is knowing where your players are going to be, having a feel for them. And so 3 turnovers tonight. I think he had more the other night, but it just looked like he was before he was getting up in the air and trying to make the extra pass. And he still does that. He's still going to do that. That's just how he is. And same thing with Ja. Ja's going to do that. You have to kind of forgive that for what he gives you in other ways. So, yeah, no hate on D Rose. He played very well. And so if we can get that, I'd say just every now and then, or every other game, or every third game, and he just is consistent, steady Eddie throughout, but it just every now and then he pops. That's really what you need. Going back to some of these, Jake does hustle. He takes good shots. I agree. After I was wrong, and Ryan corrected me, but I did say that I went back and looked at it, and Jake does play within himself. He doesn't help you, but he doesn't hurt you. He kind of keeps you kind of just going through the motions. And then Alan says, Jokic looked like he had barbecue for lunch. Bro was just chilling.
Made a stop at Cozy Corner.
Yep. All right, Tobias. Let's talk about Kenny. What's your thoughts? Why didn't he play? Is there any reason to think he's going to play?
No. No. What are we talking about? Like, Kenny's going to play in the games where they sit even guys who are playing right now. And that's not me saying anything about what I've seen from him.
Yeah.
But clearly something within the organization has seen something where that's the case, right? Because we said this after last game. If you're gonna give Junior minutes, now is the time. Yeah. You don't have Steve and Brandon or Santi. You're putting Jake LaRavia in there. Like, I don't know what it is, man. I don't know if he has just rubbed the coaching staff wrong, if they sent him home with a summer plan and he didn't do any of it, if something's going on in camp, I don't know. But
man forgot to do his homework.
Forgot to do his homework. Sounds like me. But there's got to be something besides basketball skill, because we've all seen him. He's a bucket. This is a team that needs buckets. But it could be as simple as, I mean, the only true bigs that they're playing right now are X and Jaren.
Yeah.
And so you need another big. It could just be they don't trust him out there.
Yeah.
Let me correct that. It is that they don't trust him out there. I just don't know why. Right. I just don't know why they don't trust him. I don't know if it's play, attitude, what it is, but I would not expect to see him get minutes if he hadn't gotten any so far.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
I agree completely. I'm curious, have we heard anything about Santi Aldama? Because I know that
Yeah, he rolled his ankle.
Luke is out for tomorrow. That was confirmed. And so I'm curious if we have heard, and if you know this, if you've heard this by any means, hit us up in the chat. But Taylor Jenkins did say that Luke is out tomorrow for sure.
Yep, he is out tomorrow for sure. I think they confirmed that before the game because he's in protocol, which, to be honest, I didn't know the NBA had a concussion protocol. I didn't know that extended beyond the NFL. But Santi, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we ever got an official. Did they give us like a sprained ankle, anything like that? Sprained? Yeah. Did they give a grade? Well, I mean, because if it's a high grade ankle sprain, he could be out for a month.
Well,
right? So I just don't know. I mean, honestly, I was like, oh, he rolled his ankle in practice. That's the only thing I saw. I was like, oh, well, I guess he won't play tonight. Maybe he'll play on Friday.
Yeah.
Did I miss something? Is he going to be out for a month? Are my trust issues with the Grizzlies medical staff going to build?
I bet he is out a week or so. But my thing is like you got to figure out a way to get. You have to get him back somehow, some way. But the problem is with the ankle, it's all about tenderness and stability. And so if for some reason he isn't, then we're screwed until he gets back for sure. Ryan says he thinks that they called it a mild ankle sprain. So we'll see. Listen, I don't know. I'm curious of how it is because Santi not being here definitely doesn't help us. And it's definitely hurting us. But who would you take out of this, or would you just add him into the rotation because they went 9 men again? Even with Luke out, that just added in Jitty. And so with Luke out and concussion protocol, I bet Luke gets back before Santi if I had to put my money on it. So with that being said, let's say we go back and Luke or Santi gets back and we go back to 10. Is that how you see it, or do we go and shape it all the way back down to 9 and somebody else gets pushed out of the rotation?
I mean, knowing the Grizzlies' past operating procedure since Taylor Jenkins has been there, they'll go to 10. But I mean, in my opinion, it's like you give Santi a bunch of those minutes that are going to Jake and Roddy right now. Like because it's the same thing you were saying with Roddy. Obviously, it's tough. He's got to get a little bit of a bounce back in him. He's going to be fine. I'm not worried about it. But he's not giving you anything right now. He's kind of actively hurting you. With Arabia, he's not hurting you, but he's not giving you anything. Give those minutes to Santi, who's going to give you something, right? I mean, this is a dude who balled out in FIBA. He's shown a lot of growth over the past couple of years, was a real contributor last year. I just give all those minutes to him, keep it at 9. Like, you're not going to die with a 9-man rotation.
Right.
Like, guys aren't going to be overexerted. It's going to be okay. So I think my guess would be they stick with 10 because it's been their past operating procedure. I would hope they would go to 9.
Yeah, I'm curious. I would expect them to go 10, especially in the first half. I think after the first half, I think second half, depending on how you played in the first, is whether or not those shake it down to 9. And I think that's a possibility because you want to play a little bit more in depth, a little bit more to your strengths, depending on how the game is going. No reason to cut yourself in the first half. So, who knows? Anyway, overall thoughts on the game. Anything else that you want to hit on? Because I did see some things that I liked. I saw some things I still don't like, but nothing that's too far in depth that I'm like, hey, man, like this has got to change because it looked like Jaren was more in the post than he had been.
Yes.
Yes. The only thing I will say is, how does he not have a post moves yet? We have the post game. He doesn't have post moves. No, he does not. He does the same thing every time.
Yeah, but it's still a move.
Moves,
and it works.
Plural, like more than one.
Yeah, I don't like Daniel. Just be happy with what we have. This
is
something we've been
asking.
Not. Daniel, we've been asking for him to have a post move.
That is
since his career started.
That's not a post move. You can't just be like, I'm going to use my left. I'm going to use my left. I'm going to use my left. Okay, I didn't get a charge yet. Thank God. Let me try to shoot it real quick. That's his post move.
Daniel, I've got, yes, Sorry, what was it? That's his what?
That's his one post move. Not
Yes,
moves.
exactly. No, Daniel, that's what I said. We have wanted Jaren to have a post move since he got here. He has one. By the way, it works. He's shooting like 85, 90% on that little hook when he gets to the move. Just be happy. Just be happy. It's not our job. It's not our job to get on him for saying, hey, get more moves.
Might be.
It's our job to be happy with an 0-2 team and find optimism and silver linings. And the silver lining is Jaren had 21 points, 9 rebounds tonight, and he has a post move that works. Work tonight. I'm going to be happy with it.
He went 9 of 12 tonight.
Yeah.
Why aren't you taking more shots?
How many shots? Who led? Dez had 17. 13,
and he went 4 of 17.
14.
Hey, Jaren.
He needs to
more
get
shots.
more often. He needs to ask for the ball in the post more.
He doesn't.
But it's not the way this offense works either.
He doesn't ask for more
the less
shots.
Jaren is like Karl Malone, the better. For Ryan Meadows. Shout out to Ryan. The less Jaren is like Karl Malone, the better. Yes, I think we can all get behind that statement, both on and off court. Apparently, except for the NBA, who featured him at All-Star Weekend last year like he was the King of England. So,
I'm just
all right.
I want Jaren to be good. I really do, and I just
he was good, Daniel.
The problem is like he limits himself in every single way. Like when he has a good game and he's rolling, he limits himself, and he won't like go get the ball.
Yes. Okay. Yes. He needs the ball more. He needs to be more assertive.
Yes.
Guess what, Daniel? He's not going to be. You can go live in this fairy tale world where Jaren is going to be freaking Karl Malone, which, by the way, I don't want that world. Who else? Shaq, Yoke. Like,
just
you can
give
live
me
in this
Hakeem
world
Olajuwon.
where you want him to be that. Sorry, Daniel. Here's the deal. Jaren is a number 3 guy. He's an awesome, all-world, amazing, possible first-team All-NBA, depending on how the season breaks. But third-team guy. Like, he cannot be your best player. He doesn't want to be. He's not assertive enough to be. And guess what? That's okay. He still played well tonight. And I'm going to be happy with it. I am. And it's just not how he's ever going to play. He is never going to interject himself in the offense. It's not going to happen.
You can say
I exited that fairy tale world. I have exunt stage left. And I'm here in the real world where I can enjoy Jaren having 21 and 9.
Man, listen, I'm not saying I'm not happy with 21 and 9. I just hate because I really think he has so much potential to do more, but he won't come out of that shell and like demand the ball, and he won't come out of the shell to learn another post move besides that stupid left hook that works, that he's going to get called for in playoff times because they're going to flop every single time. Like I can see that part of it, of his game, that I really want to change. Besides that, I like him as a player. He's all world defensive. Like he does so much on that. Like he is a superstar on the defensive end, and he is a above average player on the offensive end. And eventually one day, if he can figure out a way to just kind of knock on the door of superstardom on the offensive end, this dude would be so amazing. And that's really what I want to see. I want to see Jaren just take off and just skyrocket, man.
Honestly, you want to see it in a game like tomorrow night where you're playing against the Wizards, who are
and he's bigger than
not exactly
else.
Stout defensively.
Right.
But you just go to him and not as like, hey, we're going to feed him the first touch of the game. It's like, no, we're going to get in a stretch in the second quarter, third quarter, where you feed him the ball and then you feed it to him again the next possession and you feed it to him again the next possession and you say, Jaren, go win the game. Like, that's the only way that could happen. And by the way, they tried that last year. It still hasn't happened. So, like, again, if it ever comes to fruition, I will be so happy. But I'm not living in the world where I think Jaren is going to ever be that guy. Just, we haven't seen it. Don't expect we'll see it. And I'm 100% with Ryan.
Well, we're going to show LOL nope Jones first. I'm going to say like that forever. Valid points each way. I'd like to see if that would change in the future. If you would just side with me, I would appreciate that. LOL nope Jones. But Ryan says, me being mad 70%. Yeah, listen, I am mad. I'm upset, and I want more.
We know. We know. Listen, everybody will
Both
be
of you
so
shut
happy if it goes your way. Everyone will be so
Just-
happy. I would be happy to buy you that dinner at Central because we'll be celebrating a Grizzlies championship if it goes your way. But guess what? Again, I'm in the real world. You want to know my actual thoughts
No,
on tonight's
God.
game? The only other thought I have,
Yeah,
genuinely,
go ahead.
this is genuinely. No, come back on screen. It's not a monologue. It's not meant to be one way. I am genuinely so bummed Ja Morant isn't out there.
Yeah.
Like it honestly, as a Grizzlies fan, there was a point tonight where I think they had got it within. It was that point where it's kind of like from 6-4 to 6-4 to 7
They
to
took
5
the
to
lead.
3. No, but it wasn't then. It was in that point where it's kind of back and forth from 6-4. I was like, freaking dang it, Ja. Like if you were playing right now, like you are the dynamo that can go push this game over, right? Like it's once they have him back, the size thing obviously sucks not having all your bigs, but he is so dynamic. I think we as Grizzlies fans, because of everything that's happened, have sort of forgotten how like otherworldly Ja Morant is, where he is a top 10 player in the league when he's here, that he can flip a game like that and push a team over the top like that. And so just genuinely just bummed, man. Like just want him to be out there. Frustrating. 23. I'm ready for the next 23 games to go by, and hopefully the Grizzlies are in a good competitive position when they get there.
I agree. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but man, it is bum worthy to the fact that like, come on, like just please, like hurry up. The 25 games, but listen, the guys are battling out there. I expect tomorrow's game. We're both going to be back here. I'm not normally going to be on the weekends. Let's just kind of pull the rabbit out of the hat real quick. That's not me. I'm not going to be on the weekends. But we're going to be back here for the post game. But
somebody will be.
Yeah, somebody's going to be on this stupid thing. So, all right, let's go ahead and preview the Wizards game. But before we get there, let's give you a little bit of a commercial break real quick. We'll be back here in 2 minutes and 7 seconds.
I am highly upset, man.
Oh, man.
ESPN, you dastardly dogs you. Last week had us feeling good. They picked the Grizzlies to be first in the West with about 48.5 wins. And what a difference a few days makes.
What a difference.
You put out your list of the top 100 players in the NBA. Desmond Bane jumps in at 61. Jaren Jackson Jr. comes in at number 31. Jaren's top 25 to me, but if you all right, whatever. I think that's a little slight to Jaren. Desmond Baines is disgusting, in my opinion. But then we get Ja Morant, all-NBA player, two-time All-Star, one of the most dynamic offensively players in the NBA, Ja Morant. That guy was number 35 on their list, Kenny Stubblefield. The same people that said the Grizzlies will be the first team in the West. They're going to get that done with just some regular dudes.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Just curious, you kind of talked about the transfers and things like that. How has that changed your mindset from a roster management standpoint? Like, incredible recruiter. All the classes, I think we had 2 back-to-back and 21 and 22 top classes. How does that change with the transfer portal? Do you start focusing more on upperclassmen? Do you kind of get away from the younger freshmen? How does that work?
Yeah, so I still believe in our coaching staff and the way we do things and developing guys. And that I will never get away from that philosophy. We're still going to recruit a high school class. Now, there's a lot of colleges out there that say, screw this. We're pushing all the chips in on this roster, win right now, and we'll figure it out. Sure. And if it doesn't, right, it implodes and bad things happen. But I think you still have to bring in true freshmen and develop them and see what they can become. And that I'll never waver from that. But the portal certainly changed things.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, we are back. Thank you for hanging out with us. We're going to go ahead and preview the Wizards game tomorrow night. Before we get there, let's talk a little bit about Bluff City Media in general. We obviously gave away a 1-month subscription to be a Bluff City Media Insider tonight. Thank you for Grizz Teller coming on. We're going to have more guests as we do throughout the year. Eventually, we're going to give away the year long subscription, as well as a $100 gift card to the merchandise store that we have at Bluff City Media. And so as we do that, it's only going to get bigger and better. So we might throw in more things here and there. So just kind of stay tuned for that. But make sure you tune in every day, weekday, to the Daily Grind. Luke does a really good job of it. Mark has been out, but I believe Mark is coming back very soon. So stay tuned for that. But the Daily Grind is there Monday through Friday, every single day during the week. It tips off at 9 o'clock. And so you also have our other shows with Anthony Sane, and then the Tiger stuff, Tigers Untapped. Then you have that. There's podcasts on our Grizz 901 podcast network. If you're not already joined and subscribed there, do that. But you have free basketball with Ryan, who I've probably mentioned too many times tonight. But then also you have the No Bluffing podcast with Chris and Luke. And so make sure you tune in. There's so much content out there with Bluff City Media. If you aren't a subscriber, it only costs $5 a month. So if you're going to just wait around and try to win the Grizz Teller, cool. But we're going to do it every single guest. But if not, it's $5. And when you win it, just cancel and you get your year free. Easy enough. But that's all we have. Let's go ahead and get into the Wizards game. Tomorrow, they play on the Wizards. And this is the last mascot standing. The Grizzly took out the Wizard, the magical Wizard. Will it happen again tomorrow night? Will we score 143 points just like the Indiana Pacers? Sorry.
I don't think the Grizzlies currently have the firepower to put up 143, but I think they can put up 125. Okay. So I think they have a chance to hit the 125 mark. If you get a good Jaren and a good Bane, hopefully those legs get some good rest in. Shots aren't falling short tomorrow night, but I think they can hit 125. And honestly, the Wizards are a team that could put up 130 or 88, depending on the night, I feel like. So honestly, as a Grizz fan, I'm hoping for a good break from the basketball gods where it's one of those 88 type nights and Grizzlies get a pretty significant double-digit win to get one in the right column.
Yeah, so the Wizards, 6 o'clock game there on Saturday, and then they have a day off, and then they play the Mavs back home. Again, 7 o'clock back in the Grindhouse. Any thoughts that we might be 2-2 after those two games?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I think if you saw anything from the Grizzlies tonight, plus the performance from Desmond Bane 2 games ago, or 1 game ago, depending on how you're looking at it, is that the Grizzlies have a chance to go ahead and compete with anybody in the league. As long as you get good performances out of Bane, you're going to need pretty much Dez and Jaren to be good every night to compete. And then if you have a night where one of them's good and one of them's great, then you can pretty easily beat anybody, I feel like. And then if you have another night where both of them are great, you can still beat anyone. So if you get 2 good performances from those guys tomorrow night, I think you got a chance to pull out the win and then get the second one moving on.
Yeah, a little bit more than just the Wizards here, but looking at the schedule, just kind of taking a glimpse of the next 5 games. You're talking about the Wizards. You're at the Wizards, and then you're the Mavs, Dallas Mavs, back at home, and then you go on the road for at the Jazz, and then 2 at the Blazers. Those next 5 games are all very winnable. If for some odd reason the Grizzlies can go 5-0, then you're talking about a 5-2 start, which is incredible. But even if you can't go 5-2, right? Let's say you go 4-3, you're still head above water, right? The main thing is you can't allow yourself to go, like 2-5 or 3-4. You can't be below 500 coming out of these first 8. That's the main important part. And so I think that they have a good chance to really, or I guess 7. I guess they have a good chance to really be above 500 coming out of this next, the first 7 games. And I think that's important because, you're talking about a third of the way through pretty much of Ja. Maybe not a third, maybe a fourth. We'll say a fourth of the way through the Ja's suspension. And so I expected good things to happen tomorrow night. The matchups, any matchups you're looking for in general within the Wizards?
I feel like whoever has the better offensive performance of Poole and Bane can have a big impact on the game if there's like a significant advantage there. I feel like the Grizzlies can afford to lose that matchup more than the Wizards can. But other than that, it's sort of Jaren versus insert Wizards big, right?
Yeah.
Like you can
Not
throw
many of them.
Gafford in there, but like if Jaren has a better night than Kuzma, I feel like the Grizzlies win that game, right?
Well, yeah, just looking at this, like Kuzma doesn't scare me. He can go off, but he doesn't scare me. He's not going to fill it up in bunches. Danny Adia, Daniel Gafford, Tyus Jones, he's going to play well. And I would expect this is going to be Tyus's best game of the year, even though he went for 16, 3 and 6. I expect him to even play better. He's going to play, energized a little bit because they moved on from him. And Marcus Smart's going to be on the other side. Marcus Smart probably on Jordan Poole, I'd imagine. So you're going to have Bane on Tyus. And so at that point, maybe shutting down Jordan Poole would be, obviously a feather in the cap to Marcus Smart. But looking at the bench, Danilo Gallinari, I don't know who these other people are. Corey Kispert's on here, DeLon Wright, Bilal Coulibaly.
Yeah.
That's really their main 9 they run out with. So they're not really deep. They don't look, there's nothing that shoots off of the page like, hey, these guys can really fill it up besides Jordan Poole, maybe Kyle Kuzma. The rest of them are going to play within themselves. They're going to play well. If somebody can go off, I really hope they can. And so I'm looking at the matchups, right? So if we're looking at this, this would be a great Santi game. Okay, Santi's not here. So he's not probably going to be here. But Daniel Gafford, I think Xavier Tillman can shut him down. As in, like, he can play very well, even though he's a little bit taller.
Yeah.
I think Kyle Kuzma against Jaren is going to be a good matchup because Kuzma is more of a smaller big. Would you be tempted to put Xavier Tillman on him because he's going to be more on the outside than Daniel Gafford? Daniel Gafford's going to have the height advantage on somebody like Xavier Tillman, but Xavier Tillman's got the meat, big meaty man slapping meat. I think he can be, push him around if he needs to.
No, I'm good with X on Gafford.
He's 6'10", so I guess he's not too big.
Yeah, but you just had X on Jokic for an entire game. There's pretty much nobody in the league. I'm like, oh, don't put X on him with the way the Grizzlies are built. Like, he's solid enough. He's not going to give up a bunch of ground. He's going to give up some height and stuff, but you're going to live. If like a guy gets the ball in the basket, then he gets the ball in the basket, right? It's like he's already going to score anyways. Put X on him, you live with it, and you let Jaren do what he needs to do to roam. Same thing you've been doing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could be a good night overall, just in general. Let's get to a little bit of our predictions and kind of talking through that. I don't see many more comments flowing through, so we don't have to hit on those. But talking about this game in general, let's get some predictions. So anybody that has a breakout game that you see that has potential that really could benefit from, playing a team like Washington, who's going to give up, obviously as much offense as you can figure out and find. Is there anybody that this could really be good for?
Zaire.
Okay.
Zaire.
He had a great game.
I want to say Jaren, but I'm honestly kind of like, Jaren needs to play well. So I don't want to say it's going to be a big breakout game for him. And again, everyone in Grizz Nation outside of you thinks Jaren had a good night tonight too. So I'm not going to say it's a breakout. But I think Zaire is prime for a true, like, oh, this kid can play type game against the Wizards. I think they're going to, again, the Wizards are not exactly a defensive powerhouse from what we saw in game 1. And I think that there's going to be a lot of over-focusing on guys like Bane, Jaren, even Marcus Smart, that leaves Zaire with a lot of ability to get into the paint, hit in the mid-range, get to the bucket. I think we get a Zaire highlight dunk in this game too. I'm calling that.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking the first thing is I'm going to take the Jordan Poole turnovers 100%. Because Marcus Smart is going to have that boy in hell. He's going to figure out what in the world he ate 2 days ago. Like, he's going to be that into him. And I expect Bane being able to be on Tyus a little bit allows him to have the freedom to maybe expend his energy into the offensive end. I think Bane gets back on track. I think Bane goes off for 30 tomorrow night. He likes to play on the road. to be the first road game of the year. I think Bain goes off for 30. He gets right back. And I think that's really going to be the big part. I do agree that Zaire could be his big game, because I think Danny Abdia, he's fine. But I think Zaire,
he's already mad. He was mad in the preseason playing with Jordan Poole. So he's like, we already got him malcontent.
He did sign a new contract though. Like, come on.
He's about to James Harden his way out of there, man. That's what he's going to do.
But the bench, I think our bench really, that's going to be the biggest thing. Our bench has a chance to go against guys in DeLon Wright, Bilal Coulibaly, who is very, very good defensively. He's not going to be an offensive threat, but he's very good defensively. But he's going to be, like our guys. And then Corey Kispert, which is fine. He just, could score in bunches. And then Danilo Gallinari is okay. So nothing that scares me, but man, our bench could really have a chance to get going and feel confident and comfortable, especially coming back here. So you get out of that game, you come back home again against a Mavericks team that's a division rival, which leads you right into a road trip. And then you're going to have your first play-in game next Friday. So a week from today is our first play-in game that actually counts. So I'm expecting a fun game. We'll be back here again. Let's give our predictions. Give me some of your predictions on this game. I need to know who the winner is and what's the score. This is not going to be a giveaway, but I'd like to know what your thoughts are.
I'm going to go Grizz 124, Wizards 119.
Okay. Man, I was going to say 124.
Pray to God, Des hit shots.
I was going to say 124 as well. 122, 112. Grizzlies win by 10. So that's a lot of points. So 132 points from me. Just in general, but I think 122, 112 Grizzlies win. Big bounce back game for Des Bain. Big bounce back game for the entire bench. And so I think it's going to be a fun time. So that's all we have. If you have anything, if you have any comments or anything, please hit us up. Let us know. You can find us over at Grizz 901 Podcast. Also, we have Bluff City Media. You can follow them over on Bluff City Media on the X. But that is all we have for the post game tonight. Game 2. We'll be back here tomorrow night for Game 3. Make sure you show up. Hit us up in the comments as always. But mostly, thank you. Be nice. Tell your friends.